Ever felt like you're caught in a mental labyrinth, constantly battling your own thoughts, desires, and aversions?
That feeling, yeah.
That persistent sense that life is an uphill struggle. Maybe a series of obstacles rather than something to be, well, savored.
Definitely a common human experience.
Today on the Deep Dive, we're charting a course through that very maze. We're hoping to be guided by some ancient wisdom to find what our source calls joyful living.
Joyful living.
Yeah, we're pulling our insights from overcomingdelusion.pdf, which is a fascinating exploration drawing specifically on the timeless teachings of the Gita for joyful living, chapter 7, verses 27 through 30.
Ah, the Gita, chapter 7.
Exactly. And for those maybe less familiar, the Bhagavad Gita isn't just an ancient scripture. It's really a profound dialogue on life, duty, spiritual realization.
Absolutely. Revered for its universal insights.
Right, into human psychology and purpose. Today we're trying to extract its wisdom on overcoming those internal struggles that, often define our days.
Sounds like a worthwhile exploration.
Our mission, really, is to unpack the intricate role our minds play in these perceived battles, and maybe reveal a practical path towards a more joyful existence. Sort of give you a direct map to understanding these, well, quite profound insights.
A shortcut, in a way.
Kind of. And before we dive in, just a quick note on terminology. This wisdom from the Gita refers to God and divine will quite a bit.
Yes, that's central to its framework.
So for our deep dive today, we're exploring these concepts as they're presented in the source, looking at their philosophical, maybe psychological implications for living more joyfully.
Right, understanding the concepts within their context.
Exactly, without necessarily endorsing any specific theological viewpoint. Okay, let's unpack this.
What's truly fascinating here, I think, is how this ancient wisdom directly addresses modern human experience with such precision.
It feels very current, doesn't it?
It really does. This isn't just philosophy for philosophy's sake. The source offers a remarkably clear, actionable framework for understanding and maybe resolving the very internal conflicts that so many of us grapple with daily.
It speaks to a universal human struggle that just transcends time and culture, showing how these timeless principles are still incredibly relevant.
That's a universally felt truth, isn't it? The source opens with such a relatable statement. Our life appears to be a struggle.
Hard to argue with that sometimes.
Right. It's a feeling almost everyone can recognize, but then it pivots, exploring the internal roots of this struggle, rather than just blaming, external circumstances.
That's the key shift.
Can you delve into that, how our own minds become the primary arena for this battle?
Absolutely. The core insight here is, well, it's a radical shift in perspective. The source suggests our perceived struggles aren't really external battles, but more of an internal disconnect.
Yeah, disconnect.
Yeah. According to the text, this struggle arises primarily because we are not aware that we are dealing only with God, and all the events that happen in our life is the wish of God.
Okay, that's a big statement. It is. And it's not necessarily about blind faith in the conventional sense, but more about a profound unawareness that every event, every circumstance, is ultimately part of a larger, maybe benevolent design, what the text calls God's wish, or you could think of it as an underlying cosmic intelligence.
So the problem isn't the world itself.
Exactly. The problem then isn't the world outside, but the limitation of the mind that prevents us from perceiving this underlying reality. I mean, imagine the paradigm shift if you truly believed everything happening was somehow orchestrated for your growth.
The whole idea of struggle would change completely.
It would transform, wouldn't it?
So it's our own mind getting in the way. Our internal lens is the issue.
That's the argument.
And it's not just a limitation. The source also says the mind is biased with the likes and dislikes. That really resonates.
Oh, definitely.
It means that the same world appears differently for different people. And the text gives that great contrast. Wise people see the entire creation as a source of entertainment.
Entertainment, yes. Like a cosmic play.
While others see the world as a source of pleasure and pain. That's a huge difference in perception, isn't it? For the exact same reality.
Just based on the mind's filter.
Right.
Precisely. This biased perception is what the Gita in verse 7.27 vividly describes as the delusion of duality caused by desire and hatred.
Desire and hatred, the core duality.
Right. And what's quite striking is the statement that all living beings get deluded at the time of birth itself.
From birth. Wow.
It suggests it's not something we pick up later. It's like an inherent condition we're born into, a kind of default operating system, you know.
So we're hardwired for it, in a sense.
That's the implication. This
Wow.
duality, this constant splitting of reality, desire, undesirable, good, bad, pleasure, pain, it fundamentally shapes our entire perception.
And it keeps us from seeing clearly.
It keeps us from what the Source calls desirable knowledge, which is true insight into reality. Instead, it's constantly pushing us towards undesirable sense objects, things we crave or things we desperately try to avoid, often to our own detriment.
So we're trapped in a cycle.
Essentially, yeah, a cycle of craving and aversion, all because of this fundamental delusion. Think of it like wearing tinted glasses from birth, distorting everything we see.
It certainly paints a picture of a challenging inherent condition, this mind hardwired for duality. But the beauty of wisdom like this is it rarely just points out the problem.
It usually offers a path forward, right?
Exactly. So from this perspective, what's the very first tangible step we can take? To begin transcending this inherited delusion, start seeing the world more like that source of entertainment.
Thankfully, the Source doesn't leave us stranded. It clearly lays out the first step to remove the delusion, to live life completely according to the Dharma.
Dharma. What does that really mean in this context? It's not just about religion, is it?
No, not solely. It's a really profound concept. It encompasses righteous conduct, moral duty, living in harmony with, let's say, universal principles.
So aligning your actions with what's right.
Basically, yes, aligning your actions with what's inherently right and beneficial, both for you and for the larger ecosystem of life. And conversely, dharma is acting against that natural ethical order, things like deceit, selfishness, causing harm.
Okay. And how does practicing Dharma help with the delusion?
Well, the text explains that if we practice Dharma and avoided Dharma, God will help us to remove our likes and dislikes. It's presented as a direct action leading to a direct internal shift, an active purification of those biased mental filters we were just talking about.
That's empowering. It gives us something concrete to do.
Right, it's not just contemplation.
And the benefit is clear. When the likes and dislikes reduce their grip on our mind, we will be able to discriminate between the right and wrong, so we gain clarity.
Exactly. A sharper internal compass. It's like taking off those tinted glasses, even just for moments, to see the world more as it is.
So what does practicing Dharma tangibly mean today? For someone listening, how does that look day to day?
Good question. It means consciously choosing integrity, responsibility, compassion in your daily interactions, even, maybe especially, when it's challenging.
Like fulfilling your duties,
Yeah.
being honest.
Yes, fulfilling duties at work or home, being honest in dealings, treating others with respect, not just out of obligation, but seeing it as a deliberate path to inner purification.
Conscious practice.
Exactly. Imagine a small daily practice. Before reacting to something frustrating, just pause. Ask yourself, what's the most dharmic response here? What action aligns with my highest principles?
Even small steps matter.
This consistent effort, however small, the text suggests, gradually weakens the hold of those instinctive likes and dislikes.
And this newfound ability to discriminate, to see more clearly, that's crucial. Why? Where does it lead?
It's crucial because it allows us to see the bigger picture. And the Source then makes it quite unequivocal. Knowing God completely is the only way to gain joyful living.
Knowing God completely, that sounds like the ultimate goal here.
It seems so. It even dedicates a specific insight. Teaching 98, stating, joyful living is possible only if we know God. So it's not just about ethical living, though that's the foundation. It's about pursuing a deeper knowledge.
And what happens when this pursuit of knowledge becomes truly serious, not just a casual interest?
Exactly. When this desire to know God, or that fundamental underlying reality, however you conceive it, stops being just an intellectual hobby and becomes a serious pursuit, the text promises something quite remarkable.
Which is?
It promises that God then guides him to the right process of gaining knowledge. It suggests an active, reciprocal journey.
So it's not just us figuring it out alone.
Apparently not. It's not about being handed answers on a plate, but about being guided towards the methodologies, the practices, the teachings that will actually facilitate that deeper understanding. It's like turning on a GPS for your spiritual journey once you've really committed to the destination.
That's where it gets really interesting, isn't it? Connecting this proactive pursuit with a kind of guiding force.
It is fascinating. It implies we're not just struggling in the dark if we're genuinely seeking.
Right. So for those who truly commit with determination, who follow this path, what does the text reveal about this guidance? and what lies ahead for them.
Well, the Gita, in verse 7.28, speaks directly to these individuals. It describes them as those of the people who are of noble actions, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, and who are freed from the duality of delusion, seek me with determination.
Okay, so there are prerequisites there. Noble actions, past issues resolved, freedom from duality.
Exactly. It highlights the profound qualities needed for this determined pursuit. It's not a casual thing. It's a commitment born from a life already oriented towards ethical conduct, those noble actions, and a purification of past negative tendencies. This leads to a mind that's already somewhat freed from that initial duality of delusion we talked about earlier.
So these are people who have already done the groundwork with Dharma.
That's the sense, yes. They've reduced their likes and dislikes, and now they're ready for, well, deeper insight.
That level of commitment sounds incredibly demanding, though. Beyond the internal shift, what are the actual outcomes? What does the source say someone gains if they truly dedicate themselves like this?
It's profound. For those who take this serious step, verse 7.29 gives the answer. It states that those who strive for freedom from decay and death by resorting to me, by turning their attention and devotion towards God, or that ultimate reality, they come to know that Brahman completely, the self completely, and karma completely.
Brahman, the self, and karma. Completely. Can you break this down a bit?
Sure. Brahman here generally refers to the ultimate all-pervading reality, the sort of unchanging ground of all existence.
The absolute.
Kind of, yes. The self refers to one's true eternal nature, distinct from the temporary body-mind-ego complex, your essential being.
Okay. And karma.
Karma refers to the intricate universal laws of action and consequence. Understanding how our deeds, thoughts, intentions all shape our destiny, our experiences.
So a complete holistic understanding of reality, self, and cosmic law.
That's what's promised. And importantly, that phrase, freedom from decay and death, isn't just about physical mortality. The text often speaks to liberation from the entire cycle of repeated birth, aging, and death, samsara, which is seen as this continuous state of flux and impermanence, a kind of existential struggle in itself. So the understanding brings liberation from that whole cycle.
Wow. Okay, so it's an all-encompassing understanding of existence, one's true nature, the mechanics of the universe. That's huge.
It is.
And the source doesn't stop there, does it? It describes an even higher level of awareness in the final verse we're looking at.
That's right.
What does that ultimate insight look like for those who've achieved this profound knowledge?
That's where verse 7.3 really brings it all together. It describes those who have reached the absolute pinnacle of this journey. It says, those with disciplined mind know me as the Supreme Lord, as the governing principle of the manifestation, as the one underlying all the deities, and as the one sustaining all sacrifices.
Even at the time of death.
Even at the time of death. Yes. This points to a state of a completely refined, disciplined mind. The individual perceives God, or the ultimate reality, as the absolute orchestrator of everything.
Seeing the puppet master behind the scenes, so to speak?
In a manner of speaking, yes. They see the supreme principle as the source of all creation, the essence behind all perceived powers or deities, and the underlying force that sustains all actions, all offerings, everything.
And crucially, that understanding holds firm even at death.
Right. That signifies a complete transcendence of fear and illusion. It connects directly back to that initial idea we discussed, seeing life as completely controlled or guided by God.
Which leads to joyful living.
Exactly, leading to joyful living through this profound, unwavering insight into the absolute nature of reality. It dissolves all delusion, all struggle.
What an incredible journey we've taken today. Really, from understanding the subtle ways our minds create struggle through delusion and duality.
Those inherent biases of likes and dislikes.
Right, to the practical, actionable steps of living a life according to Dharma.
The necessary groundwork.
And finally, arriving at this profound knowledge that culminates in what the Source calls joyful living. It truly reinforces the message, doesn't it? That by refining our minds, by seeking this ultimate knowledge, we can potentially overcome that initial sense of struggle.
And experience life in a completely transformed, perhaps joyful way.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener, grappling with your own unique challenges day to day?
Well, I think this deep dive really raises an important question, perhaps a personal one. If our struggles largely stem from our mind's ingrained biases, these delusions of duality,
Then what?
then what small, simple dharma, what act of integrity or duty or compassion could you consciously integrate into your daily life, maybe starting this week?
Something manageable.
Something manageable, yes. To begin gently reducing your own likes and dislikes, Perhaps it's consciously choosing patience when you feel irritation rising, or choosing honesty when convenience tempts otherwise.
Those small choices add up.
The idea is that even small, consistent steps in ethical action can begin to shift our perception, maybe allowing us to glimpse a different reality, one where life feels less like a constant struggle,
And more like?
and perhaps more like the purposeful unfolding that the Gita describes. Keep exploring these principles, keep questioning your own perceptions, and who knows, your world might just start to look a lot more like entertainment.